All right, welcome. So I've had a lot of requests ever since I introduced my agent mail system to have like a video that shows how to sort of set it up and how to get it to work well, sort of my latest workflow. So I decided to basically try that all out on a totally new project. I had an idea the other day randomly. I can show you sort of start to finish. So I describe the idea here. You can read this. I mean, basically the idea is to make like a web browser just for agents, where it's automatically turning every page first into an image and then using one of these nice new OCR models that can get nice markdown from an image. So basically, I like to use GPT-5 Pro for this. And so, yeah, I basically will give it a detailed description of how it should work. And then I got essentially like this big markdown plan. And I usually will do several iterations on this where I try to improve it, starting from uh, one plan and just keep cranking through it. So basically, I've already done that, and I've set up on a remote box um, everything here. And so basically, this is my process now. So I'm connected to this remote machine using SSH, and this is Cursor. So you could see. I probably should have started earlier, but I just thought to start recording. So basically, here's the deal: is that I go I connect to the machine. Step one is to install um, my agent mail project, and so you can see all I had to do is just do this one command here, and then oops, uh, and then essentially from that, oh, now I have to scroll to the top again, but basically, you can see it. It's already done all these. Oh, these look all messed up because I changed the. There we go. The zoom level. But basically, I installed the agent mail, uh, with that one-liner command, and then it's going to be super annoying to scroll back up to the top like that. But okay, so 1 second. So essentially, that takes care of everything in the agent mail front. Like you just set that up, and it's yeah. Here we go. It just does everything automatically for you. It installs everything. Integrates with codecs and whatever, and then just runs. And then what you do is in these, um, basically at the beginning, I started this with, you know, read just the plan that I showed you before that I made with GPT-5 Pro. And then, a couple other things like an agents.md file that's sort of customized, some best practice guides, blah, blah, blah. And then so I first basically told it to read all that. And then I told it to actually, so this is the main one. So I also use this project Beads by Steve Yegi, which is really good and makes my project actually much better to use them. So, but basically step one with the first agent, before you go crazy creating like a team with mail, is I say, just read all these, markdown files and understand them. And then I said, okay, do the initial project setup, create the PyProject.toml file, install the libraries, make the basic folder structure, blah, blah, blah. And so it did all that. And then I told it to essentially create, all the subtasks and tasks and beads using my plan document. And this will help the rest of the agents work well. And then basically in Tmux, I just created a bunch of sessions that are, in this directory for the project. And then I started up codecs in each of them. And so you can see I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them. And then I have one for Claude Code, which I just basically use Claude Code for the for Git stuff. I use it for other things too, like front end. But for now, I want to focus on just using it using codecs. And then basically, I have these few. This is like the sort of intro message that gets everyone to be talking to each other. And then once that's in place, you can just sort of just paste this in. yeah, like start claiming beads. So, you can basically go through, and I'm in the process of trying to see what I can do to like further automate this, especially in my companion app that I'm working on. But even still, it's pretty easy to just do this. So basically, if you start doing this, and then just do that, and then you can essentially just tell them, just keep going, basically, like pick the next bead that you can work on and start doing it. And then if you go to that first page with the agent mail, you can see like they've already done this process of introducing each other. You can see it's like they're sending each other these messages. And yeah, actually, I just realized I haven't set up the web browser here. I guess I should do that. Here, let me just stop this one from running now so I can quickly redirect the port. Um, Actually, you know what? That's going to be too much brain damage to do right now. I can show that afterwards. So yeah, basically, you can see they're sending all these messages to each other, saying hello, introducing each other, blah blah blah. That's sort of the initial kind of chatter as they sort of try to divvy up the work and understand everything. Um, that's sort of less important if you're using beads, um, because let's see, let me just jump to the end of this here. Yeah. There we go. So that's the latest thing there. And then yeah, you can see they're already all going. They're organizing tasks, they're figuring out what each one should do, and kind of already working together. And then you can sort of watch what's happening, like in cursor, and then just periodically I'll, add a message like this. And this is actually a great way to just keep on top of like what's actually happening in the repo, like in terms of like work that's being done. And Claude does a great job sort of going through, and actually it's even smart enough to try to figure out like different commits that it should make based on what's actually happening in the code, so that you're not just putting like random different changes together all in one giant commit, but you'll have like multiple commits, each with like a really detailed commit message. So that's sort of the basic process. And then like, what I tend to do with Codex, you can queue up these messages. So you can literally just do something that's just so silly like this. So just keep on, you know, you see it's queuing these things up. And then, you can do things like, oh yeah, throw in one of these once in a while. Great, now I want you to carefully review everything. And then you can go back to, the, what is it? Pick the next bead you can work on. Beads are basically the tasks that it's divided the project into based on the plan. And then, yeah, we could do some more of these. Keep going, keep going, keep going. And then maybe check your messages. You don't need to check your messages and respond, every round. That's sort of gratuitous. So, um, yeah, that's basically pick the next bead. Um, keep going. It's really that simple. Like you just keep spamming this in, add a little like, please review, um, pick the next speed, keep going, keep going, keep going. Maybe explicitly tell it, this, and you can just kind of go through and just kind of spam all these things like that. And occasionally like you can just put a slightly different messages. You could say like, oh, work on the test, make sure all the tests are passing. And so you have a little bit of variety. You can also, there we go. You can also tell some of them to be sort of like reviewers, like this one. Turn your attention towards reviewing code. And I have a couple of them do that. And like basically, if you queue up enough messages, these guys will just be running around literally like for hours at a time, and they're all talking to each other. They're all making sure that they're not working on the same things and being smart about dividing things. We've already like done a natural division of the tasks in the project using beads, or like beads is being used. I didn't create the individual beads, they did. So you can just see like let's see, you can see these are the individual tasks that have been created from the plan document, and then you can see really a lot. So much of this comes down to how good is your. Well, the most important thing is how good is your idea for making a project in the first place. But then once you have a good idea that actually might be a useful project, it's all about figuring out what's the right tech stack to implement it, and then turning it into a plan and iterating. It's much easier to iterate in the plan because you haven't done anything yet. And so if there are problems in the plan, and I often will tell ChatGPT or Claude, I mean, the other thing you can do is you can make it with ChatGPT and then you can ask Claude to, or Grok or whatever, to review it. And I often will tell it like, hey, why don't you go search the web for like things that are from late 2025, look for blog posts, articles, tutorials, documentation to find the sort of the best way to do this, the sort of latest and greatest thinking for the best way to do this. And then I sort of override that with my own things. Like I have certain non-negotiable things. Like I don't want to use any Python version older than 3.13. I only want to use UV. I only want to use PyProject.toml. Like there are a bunch of things that I insist on. And then separately to that is I have this agents.md file, which is sort of my kind of collected wisdom and learnings, but then custom tailored for this specific project, and that which references, these specific, these, like I only want to use, decouple for the decouple library for environment variables. But then I'll also have it, I'll tend to have these kind of best practice guides as well that I'll add to those, like here. And for anything that's like this project really leverages this OMO OCR project from Allen Institute. And so I specifically had it, go through and figure that out to have a sort of as support documents here. So yeah, you can see this is a very detailed plan. This was not a one-shot thing. This was like the result of like multiple revisions and iterations using GPT-5 Pro and really trying to figure it. And so you can see this really does outline the whole thing. And so it's not like this is like chaos where the agents don't know what to do. Like they have their basic roadmap that everyone sees. This gets turned into a bunch of bead tasks by the first agent, and then they all just start going to town, just taking tasks, and then they automatically handle this process of like reserving access to a file so that they don't have these conflicts. And this totally avoids these Git work trees, which I don't understand the appeal of Git work trees. It's like fragmenting the state of your project into a bunch of like incompatible or potentially incompatible versions, and then it's just creating all this homework for you later to reconcile and unify everything, which is just a nightmare. You're much better off getting in front of problems before they happen, or really sidestepping the problems entirely by having this process of coordinating and coordinating, and then some of it explicit by means of messages, and some of it indirect by means of them communicating with each other to figure out who's going to do what, and then also kind of subdividing the tasks from the plan ahead of time into these bead tasks, which they can then use. And so, yeah, that's the basic process. Like I would just, I could now essentially, like it sounds crazy, but I could basically just at this point, I could then, just turn my attention to some completely different project. And, this is happening on, on a remote box. So like, it doesn't have any impact on me here on the main machine. It's not, not an issue at all. And, it just works. And so I can be doing this. These guys will stay busy for like, you know, a while, like, and I might need to go back and just, but like the work literally consists of pressing the up arrow and like just like reusing one of these. Oh, let me throw in a great now. It's really that stupid that it's like, because all the complexity, all the effort and energy was done ahead of time, and now these guys are all queued up. They're just going to keep going doing useful stuff in furtherance of the plan and not wasting a bunch of time and energy like on conflicts and reverting each other's changes. And it's, I mean, look, imagine trying to run a software startup where none of your employees are allowed to communicate with each other, because that's basically what you're trying to do. Or maybe like, imagine if they could only communicate totally indirectly by writing on some shared, whiteboard, where first of all, it would be just wildly inefficient. But second of all, it'd be really wasteful of everyone's sort of attention span, because you'd have to be using one merged state for everything. Whereas if you give them Slack, if you give them email, they can write to each other and they only need to know about the tasks that are relevant to what they're doing. And it's just a much, like, it's amazing to me that, people weren't already doing this. Honestly, I'm kind of amazed that my project's the first one that I've seen, at least, to do this sort of. And then basically, yeah, periodically just repeat this thing. I want you to commit the change file. It's very important to tell Claude that thanks, but no thanks. We don't want your input on the actual code. Just don't try to edit anything. Just figure out, what was done, and then write, detailed and helpful commit message. And don't forget that ultra think, otherwise it'll be a lot dumber. That's basically it. I guess I'll pause now and then maybe come back, with another video on the showing the UI for the mailbox. Okay, so at first I was trying to figure out how I could connect to the remote machines port using an SSH tunnel. And then I suddenly realized, oh wait, I made a whole feature just for this. So you can essentially, once you have a mailbox, you can just do this command, the share wizard. And it's like so easy. First you need to have the GitHub GH utility set up, although I think this will set it up for you automatically. And you just do this wizard. It takes 2 seconds. In this case, I said I just wanted to export the Markdown web browser projects mailbox. And it literally took like a minute, and it automatically created a repo for me and then deployed this thing. And it takes GitHub a minute to get the page to work, but then you just click on this and now anyone can click on this, and it's got all the messages. There's not that many messages yet, but as if I wait a couple more hours, there's going to be a lot more messages. And so you can see here, like what's happening here, like at the beginning, people sort of doing their initial work. But the sort of nature of it sort of changes pretty quickly once they start having the beats, because then now they have like this much more structured way of dividing the work. So yeah, let's see. And if we go back here, oh yeah, so we now have a new commit. So here, look, if I go to here, you can see Claude does these very detailed commit messages that are very helpful for just sort of documenting, the history of the project as it evolves. And so, yeah, if we go see, you can see like these guys are all busy. Like this whole time, they've just been, pretty much working on their own, useful, like just keep rolling, guys. They just need a little bit of encouragement, and they just keep cranking away. And that's it. I mean, it's that easy. Like it's just it's almost seems like cheating. Like and all the work, like I keep saying, is all the work is in the planning and the really like the thinking of what would be a good thing to make and then what's a good way to make it. But even that, you could use AI to help you with the ideation phase of like, revising an idea, or even coming up with an idea from scratch. Although I don't do that. I come up with my own ideas. But then and then how to do it, like what's the right way to the right tech stack, the right abstractions, the right way to sort of set it up. And often, even if I do have an idea of how I want to do that, I'm open to hearing suggestions, like and I try to tell the models to that I'm open to suggestions, and also I make them listen to suggestions from each other. Like, although I do think GPT-5 Pro is the best, sometimes they often will get good ideas from Grok or from Opus, and I have these things saved here on my little machine that I can type in, instantly type in text. I can show you. I have these things like compare plans. Oops, yeah. Well, this doesn't show you this word wrap. So let me see here. Like this, or compare plans. Yes. I have these ready to go, where they sort of will compare with each other and try to improve the plan. So that's how often I use that workflow. I have little buttons for a bunch of these. Like I can just press one button, this little device here. I've shown this before on Twitter, but you can see this. This has these little keys that I've assigned to it. And actually, yeah, I can show you here. So these are all my little buttons that do different things. Um, that's another pro tip, life hack. So that's I think that's basically it. Let me know if you have any questions, and I'd love to hear success stories or frustrations that people are having using the software. And stay tuned for my companion app, which is going to be really awesome because it's going to let you essentially run this whole process in a much more automated way from anywhere. Almost as if you're the CEO of your software company and you're on your Slack app on your phone telling your guys, what to do. And it's also going to sort of automate a lot of this TMUX session management, which right now, as you can see, I've been doing by hand, but there's no reason why this can't be automated. And then also, there's no reason why I need to have some centralized server that processes it for everyone. I would love, for security reasons, that everything is between you, your dev box, and the app, perhaps with using some trusted intermediary like Cloudflare or something to sort of Tailscale to connect you guys. But I'd like to stay out of it, so I don't have to worry about security or running some big server. But stay tuned for that. And in fact, if you're interested in that project, I shared the agent mailbox that has over 1,000 messages from that. That's what I've had cranking away here across all these 7 codex sessions. So they've been hard at work on my super detailed plan for my companion. So that's it. All right.